Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. This is housekeeping on my fish tank. So I'm going to show how I do a water change on it basically. So my fish tank is 300 litres, just about, and it's 4 foot long by, it's about a foot and a half like backwards, if that makes sense. Depth, is that the depth? And then the height, yeah, because then the height is almost 2 foot, but it's 300 litre tank, and I've had it set up for about, how long? 3 years now. I think 2021 I set it up, so it's been trundling away for 3 years. So the first thing I do is use my gravel vac, which is just basically this tube connected to a smaller tube that goes into a bucket on the outside, and I just go along and hoover up all the sand, and it gets all the poop out and all the muck and dirt, and I quite enjoy this part because it's quite satisfying. So moving now to looking at from the front of the tank. So I just thought I'd talk about some of the fish that I've got in here. So the ones that the little orange coloured ones, golden coloured ones on the right, you can see are ember tetras. There's a little Amano shrimp flying by. The orange ones with the black patches on them, they are platies. And then just in the background on the right, you can see a little black and white one on the bottom, which is panda cory. And then I've also got a bristlenose pleco, which lives in the slate cave just to the left that you saw right at the beginning of the video. I'm trying to think what else I've got in there. Oh, and then there's some cardinal tetras in there, but they'll be hiding at the back somewhere, which are like neon tetras, but their stripe, is it the blue stripe or the red stripe? The red stripe goes all the way through the body, whereas neon tetra, in cardinal tetras, it goes all the way through the body. As neon tetras, it just goes half of the body, if that makes sense. So that is all the fish, and then there's a few Amano shrimp in there as well. Oh, and snails. I have loads of what are they? Malaysian trumpet snails. I had one tiny one that snuck in on it's when I bought the ember tetras, I think, and some panda cories, and there was one tiny little Malaysian trumpet snail that I thought was super cute, so I plopped him in the tank, and now there's millions of them. But apart from looking a bit horrible in the tank, some people really don't like snails, some people don't mind them. I don't really mind them because they do a good job, in my opinion, of keeping the sides clean. I know a lot of people say that they don't do anything, but I've definitely, when I've got a massive population of the trumpet snails, I've noticed that I'm not having to wipe the sides of the tank down as much. So they definitely do benefit, but they just make such a mess, because you can see like the sand that you can see in the foreground here, where the panda cory is, all around that area should be just plain sand, but these snails burrow down to get all the food and stuff, so they eat all the uneaten food, which is really handy. But then in doing so, all the gravel that's like was on the bottom and was underneath where the plants are, they push all the gravel up, so it just makes the bottom look really messy. So all the gravel that you can see there is not supposed to be there, it's supposed to be sand. And I prefer it to be like sand, so it looks like a nice little beach. So they do make quite a mess, but they do some good as well, so they're not all bad. Here's two of my little panda cories. They are super cute. I think they are probably my favourites in the tank, or one of my favourites. And then you can see at the top of the wood there's an Amano shrimp as well. You can see his whiskers flying around. That's the little male one, because the females are nearly always carrying eggs at the back. So that's a little male. And then if you can see on the sand on the floor, you can see all the snails moving around. I think the panda cories, the one on the left is either the mum or dad, and then the one on the right is one of the babies. So here now, this is my setup for taking the water out of the tank. So it's attached there, and then I run it through and then out the door. This was actually filmed in the summer, so it was a warm day. But I do sometimes, if it's horrible weather, I'll put it into the sink. So these are my two filters. I have two external filters, which are, let me think, Oase BioMaster Thermo 350s. I think the 350 being it's supposed to do filter a tank up to 350 litres. That's what the 350 is. The thermo bit of it is they've got a built-in thermometer, built-in thermometer and heater. So you don't have to have a heater in your fish tank. It heats the water inside the filter. So then it puts obviously warm water back into the tank. So it's nice and neat and tidy. And on these, they have what you can see there is a pre-filter. So the water gets pumped out of the tank into this pre-filter, which I then take outside, and then you'll see in this one the baby snails. When I say they are prolific, they are good breeders. So this is all of the Malaysian trumpet snails. And you'll see some more in a minute. So they're all over these filters. And then right at the bottom, I think I show it. I have to rinse it out a little bit first. So this is that water that's coming out the hose is water straight out the tank. So I'm okay to use it on all these filters. But yeah, that's all baby Malaysian trumpet snails. There are millions of them, and people buy these things off eBay. You can actually buy them. I could probably make quite a lot of money selling them on eBay. So if anyone wants some Malaysian trumpet snails, then let me know, because I have literally millions. So anyway, the water gets pumped out of the tank into the filter, and it goes through these the plastic tube that squirts it through these little sponge filters. And this is called the pre-filter. So all you need to do on these filters is, there you can see them all attached to the plastic tube. You just need to rinse those out in the tank water so that you don't get rid of the nice beneficial bacteria that's on them. And that, because the water goes through that first before it goes through all the other filters that are in the big box bit, it keeps most of it fairly clean. So I do this water change every 2 weeks, and then I alternate which filter I clean. So this week I've done obviously the one on the left, and then in 2 weeks' time I'll do the one on the right. And if you can just see, like, there's a bulldog clip clipped onto the blue thing on the one on the right. You can just see the metal bit of the bulldog clip, and that reminds me of which one I need to do in 2 weeks' time. So they get cleaned out once a month then. So now a lot of the water's come out of the tank. I just use an old bank card. I found this is the best thing for cleaning the tank. You can get all sorts of like scrubbers and scrapers and stuff that have got the long arms on so you can reach, which I've tried, but I found these scoury ones, they scratch the glass, and then the metal ones, they don't, if they're not completely flat, if you get like the edges pointing, that can also scratch the glass. And also because they're not, and I think it's because they're rigid, it doesn't reach all of the algae on the sides. So I find that this plastic bank card, it flexes. You can push on it like with my fingers. I can push so it's completely flat, so it scrapes it all, and it's never scratched the tank. So I find that's the best way of getting the algae. I don't have to scrape the algae off every single time I do it. It's a bit worse in the summer because obviously the sun, is on it a bit more out the window, so there's more algae growing. But in the winter, it's probably, I don't know, like once every 2 months I'll have to scrape down the glass because I think the snails seem to keep it clean. So it doesn't get too bad. So this is the setup of how I put water back in the tank. So I attach my hose to the tap, obviously, and then run it back into the tank. I've got my little big clip that holds it on, and then I just put the water straight into the tank. And then I leave all the filters running, the ones that I can, just to keep the water circulating, so the new water that goes in is all spread around. So here I use Seachem Prime. I only use 7 mils of that, which treats the whole 300 litres. You just put it straight into the tank. You don't have to pre-mix it or anything. Straight in, and then that gets rid of all the chlorine and other things that are added to our tap water that are harmful to fish. And this Seachem Prime is also really good for if you have an ammonia spike when you're first setting up your tank, or if anything's happened in the tank to cause the ammonia spike. This gets rid of it. It's really good stuff. I really recommend it. That little bottle that I have there will probably last me about 6 months. And like as I say, I only use 7 mil every 2 weeks. So I don't know, you do the maths because I can't work it out, but it lasts for ages, and that little bottle's probably about I think it's about £9 or £10 now. But I don't mind paying extra for it. But that's my water conditioner. That's all I put into it. The other thing that you just saw me pumping into it is carbo, which is liquid carbon for the plants, because I don't have any CO2. Normally, when you have loads of plants in your tank, or not normally, but sometimes when you have lots of plants in your tank, people set up CO2, so they bubble CO2 into the tank to make the plants grow. But I don't have any problems, as you can see, with plant growth. They grow like crazy. Excuse me. So I just have some liquid carbon, which some people say it doesn't do anything, but I actually ran out one time, so it was about 3-4 months that I didn't put any in, and the plants started dying off. So I definitely noticed a difference. Started using the carbo again, and it perked them up. So I just use it. I just put I think 5 pumps, so it's 5 mil every morning normally, but I just did it here because I'm doing a water change. 5 pumps every morning, and it just seems to keep the plants happy. So now we just have to wait for the water to fill up. And that's it all done. Happy fishes. You can see all the bubbles coming up from the plants. That's when they're exposed to the air, they start using oxygen rather than CO2, and then when they go back underwater again, they switch over, and then that's them releasing oxygen out, something like that anyway. So you know you've got happy, healthy plants when they're bubbling up little oxygen bubbles. So yeah, looks a bit cleaner. The tank sides look a bit cleaner. Little happy cories. Doesn't matter that there's a big crater there because in a couple of days, or not even a couple of days, the snails will sort it all out and it'll all be back level again. So yeah, nice and clean. Thanks for watching.